I'm Joe Bob Briggs, and you know the only thing funnier than Steve Martin? British actors playing lusty American co-eds and their hot-to-trot art teacher and a Boston cop with a chip on his shoulder who go underground to fight a badly lit alien monster who implants his eggs into English supermodels. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Breeders. Coming up after this on Monstervision. And don't worry, I will be here with you to get you through the whole dang thing.
See Monstervision host Joe Bob Briggs next on TNT.
Joe Bob Briggs here, and they're back. Remember a while ago when we showed Grimm? A bunch of yuppies go underground and get chased by a piece of fate's monster? Well, from the people who brought you Grimm, yes, they did live to make another movie, Breeders. A bunch of people go underground, this time under a girls' college, and get chased by another pizza-faced monster. Now, I don't know why, but this reminds me of my old tenor saxophone. The tenor saxophone is this huge honking beast of a musical instrument. It looks like a cobra that's about to strike, doesn't it? I spent about 6 years trying to play this thing, me and Tommy Withrow, the only two white guys in Little Rock, Arkansas, who could swing a tenor side to side, you know, arch our backs, high step down the field, pop the thing into our mouths right on the first downbeat. We learned this from studying the sax section in the Grambling State University Band. Now, if you miss by a half beat or a half inch, the tenor sax would dig a 2-inch scar in your face. That's why it was so macho to play this. Me and Tommy Withrow, we were always trying to play the thing like either Dexter Gordon or John Coltrane. There were sax-playing wimps who tried to play like Charlie Parker. Charlie Parker played the little midget alto sax, about half this size. Thing was so small, the neck strap never cut deep crevices into your neck like the tenor did. You didn't even have to stretch for the lower keys on that baby, see, like you do on these things. David Sanborn plays an alto sax. You see what I'm talking about? Who wants to look like David Sanborn? You know what Kenny G plays? Soprano sax. Little straight thing. Pick up one of those. You might as well turn in all your Y chromosomes right there. But Dexter Gordon was a macho man. You had the idea Dexter owned a shotgun. You know, he didn't say much. Sure sign of a monster underneath that quiet surface. And Dexter's tenor looked bigger than anybody else's tenor. He could make sounds like a car horn on that sucker. See, the other reason Tommy Withrow and me liked the tenor sax was that all band directors hate the tenor sax. The tenor sax is this ugly monster mutant instrument, half brass, half woodwind, sounds like what a grizzly bear would want to say musically. So in your average high school band, where you're playing Mussorgsky and Bach and everything, the tenor was like a next-door neighbor working on his monster truck engine all day. I had one band director who forced us to stuff towels in the bell of the sax in order to muffle the sound. We were like guerrilla warfare band nerds, so Tommy Withrow and me, those were the days. Anyway, I'd love to reminisce all night, but I'm going to have to get to the inevitable, and that's tonight's movie, Breeders, starring the late Kadamba Simmons, running around the basement of the local girls' college in a most becoming black patent leather strapless ensemble. Kadamba also starred in Grimm, of course, and here at Monstervision, we have the entire oeuvre of the great Kadamba. We'll do the drive-in totals at the first break. 1.5 stars, just roll the film. I know that's a low rating, 1.5 stars, especially for me, but I don't want to build it up too much. Better you should be pleasantly surprised. And check out these opening credits, because I think that's where half the budget went, so don't let those get by you. Woo, a lot of sexual tension there between the students and the staff at the college. Naughty, naughty. Anyhow, for those of you who missed Grimm when we showed it, that's Kadamba Simmons in the stylish little S&M outfit and the weird scars on her face. Kadamba is the model/actress who was killed the year before last by her jealous ex-boyfriend, unfortunately, only 24 years old. The boyfriend was a former Israeli soldier turned mobile sandwich stand manager who strangled her and then strung her naked body up by a shower rod. And in court, he claimed it was a botched double suicide. He claimed that they agreed that she had witches inside her, and so she wanted to end it all. And he produced evidence that he tried to kill himself, apparently by taking a butter knife to his wrists and drinking a little drain cleaner. Well, now that we're all cheered up, let's watch some commercials. And oh, wait, I got to do the drive-in totals. We have 11 dead bodies, 6 fuzzy buttocks, exploding police officer, student teacher hanky-panky, gal getting sucked into the ground, sleepwalking, green goo vomiting, sliming, neck breaking, panty wrestling, scary gals in negligees, monster cam. 1 star, go. I know I said 1.5 before I changed my mind. And by the way, was the first 25 minutes of this flick basically a meteor explosion investigated by the Highway Patrol? Of course, they always investigate meteor explosions, followed by a subplot about a blonde bimbo who asked her sexy professor to rescue her from a rat. Is that it? Okay, I just want us all to be on the same page. Continue.
We'll be back with Joe Bob's Monstervision and Breeders after these messages.
His girlfriend's panties? He did that, didn't he? That's amazing. Panty sniffing on TNT. I need to commend the TNT censors for letting that one get by. Or you can do it yourself by sending your letters to 1010 Techwood Drive, Atlanta, Georgia, 30318, or send them a message to the Monstervision website, tnt.turner.com/JoeBob. And my personal email address is joebob@turner.com if you have something you want to keep just between us about the panty sniffing. Okay, that's the talented Samantha Janus as the panty owner. She's actually a sitcom star over in England. As I mentioned earlier, this flick was directed by the auteur of our favorite spelunking movie, Grimm, a guy named Paul Matthews, which means that it was made in England, and the whole cast consists of Brits putting on those American accents, who definitely cannot play basketball. Don't you hate it when they have those basketball scenes where they're going like this? They shot this on the Isle of Man. You know where that is, right? The little island halfway between Liverpool and Dublin. Perfect place to shoot a horror flick on a $20 budget. You can hire very cheap movie crews there. Okay, commercials, and then back to Breeders. In the opening credits, I also saw a Peter Matthews and an Elizabeth Matthews, like the producer and the editor or something, the director's sister and brother. Everybody in the family is working on this, right? Yep. I thought so. That's a fine, fine basket, Governor.
We'll be back with Joe Bob's Monstervision and Breeders after these messages.
And so start many, many scenes where people walk through dark tunnels in search of the monster. Oh, ooh, scary. Who is that lieutenant character? Is he a mobster or a cowboy? I have no idea. And did the SWAT team just go down there? I think the lieutenant is an actor named Oliver Tobias. It's tough to find accurate information on this obscure cult classic, though, so I can't be 100% sure. He looks kind of like my pal Bobby Forster, except that Bobby does something a little different in his movies. It's called acting. Okay, let's go walk around the tunnel some more after the ads. An English actor playing a Bostonian cowboy gangster. Auditions for that part were tough, you know? Can you do an American accent? Great. Actually, can you do more of a Goodfellas kind of thing? You know, okay, now put on this cowboy hat. Perfect, okay, tell your agent to call us, all right. By the way, if you think the director of this flick, you think he might have been a leg man? We got enough gam shots in this movie to put the Rockettes out of business, you know? And also tell me this, are there cops with Boston police shoulder patches driving cars that say Highway Patrol on the side? I think it's one of those wacky Isle of Man jokes, right? Next time, just don't wake me, okay?
We'll be back with Joe Bob's Monstervision and Breeders after these messages.
Did I just see 20 barefoot girl zombies? I didn't really see that, did I? And why does the rubber suit gill man toothy monster pack his victims in a bed of ice? What is that about? We just saw one of the basic rules of cinema, though. When somebody is supposed to be guarding a place and somebody else decides to enter that place, the guard is always distracted, right? That's one of the rules. In fact, we covered 2 of the basic rules in that last part. Right before the cop blew up himself and the monster, he fell down. And, of course, once you fall down in a horror movie, you can't get up. So Kadamba was abducted. I believe we actually had a plot point there. Kadamba decided to bail on the American accent, though, because actually people who have been abducted by aliens normally speak with one of the accents of the British Empire. That's a little-known fact. Okay, commercials, and then back to the flick. So the only employees at this college are the art teacher, the dead janitor, and the principal, right? There are 3 employees at this college. I thought so. Tell me the truth, the programming department bought another package from the Netherlands Antilles, right? They said, well, I don't know, if you want critters, you gotta buy Breeders, too. I mean, really the same movie, just without lighting. Because isn't this the darkest movie you've ever watched, too? Fortunately, the plot is so fast-paced and engrossing. Okay, I'll shut up because, as my mother said, sarcasm is never nice.
We'll be back with Joe Bob's Monstervision and Breeders after these messages.
Todd Jensen. That's that actor's name, and he's doing a fine job, isn't he, as Ashley Roth, the Kendall art teacher. Hi, first day of school. Let's see, who's going to be my girlfriend? We know what's going on with the slime cocoons. The monster made the sign of the silver-sided damselfish with all of them, right? But luckily, Kadamba Simmons did the old 2x4 foo to Samantha Janis, breaking the spell on her so she could model her brassiere for us. Thanks, Kadamba. What a career she could have had. How sad to be cut down with such a promising life ahead of her. Okay, back in a minute. My favorite part is coming up, by the way. Scary girls in gold lame nighties walking around the tunnels. And let me go on record right here and now. Tunnels, bad. Caves, bad. Basements, bad. All dark places where you cannot see the actors, bad for B-movies. Sorry, I had to say that.
We'll be back with Joe Bob's Monstervision and Breeders after these messages. And now back to Breeders on TNT's Monstervision, hosted by Joe Bob Briggs.
Dogpile on the principal. When you run out of ways to kill people, just have all the females in the cast jump on her. Did you like those scary girls, though? I think they brought in George Romero to help out with those scenes. They added their own touch, though, the scary hands. Very effective, all right? That's always scary in a movie. I have to confess something, though. I really haven't gotten through the end of this movie yet. You know, I know we should do prep here at the show. In fact, no one at TNT and the entire network has ever gotten to the end of this movie. I think I got farther than anybody. I did watch past this particular commercial break. Everybody else stopped 2 commercials ago. I think we bought the rights to this thing from some guy at a video store down on Broadway. He says it's good. Okay. Well, we're all going to watch the end of the movie together now for the first time. This is a special event, you know. Let's do the commercials, and I'll see you when it's over, all 3 of you. This might be the first time anyone has seen the end of this movie. I'm serious. That's the way my bet would go anyhow.
We'll be back with Joe Bob's Monstervision and Breeders after these messages. Breeders will return on TNT's Monstervision, hosted by Joe Bob Briggs. And don't miss the 2000 Winter Goodwill Games tomorrow at 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific, only on TNT. And now back to Breeders on TNT's Monstervision, hosted by Joe Bob Briggs.
Well, you probably noticed that the sewer exploded because of all the oil refineries in downtown Boston. And they invented a new rule in the last 5 minutes of the movie: don't look in his eyes. I don't think we heard about the don't look in his eyes rule before now. Well, that was certainly worth staying up for, wasn't it? Of course it was. We'll continue with our series of Paul Matthews films starring his protege Kadamba at a later date. I want to let you know, though, that next week we have something almost as good: Project Metal Beast, where Kim Delaney from NYPD Blue grafts some aluminum skin onto a cadaver and creates the guy who played Jason, Kane Hodder. That's it for me, Joe Bob Briggs, reminding you to never do card tricks for the group you play poker with. Did you guys hear the one about the hillbilly and his new bride who were on their honeymoon? No. A husband jumps into bed to wait for his wife to get herself ready. The wife comes out of the bathroom in a sexy negligee, and she says, "Honey, I have something to tell you. I'm a virgin." The man grabs his clothes and he rushes out of the house yelling at the top of his lungs, and he heads straight over to his father's house. When he gets there, his father says, "Son, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be on your honeymoon." And the son says, "Daddy, my new wife just told me she's a virgin." And the father says, "Well, you did the right thing by leaving, son. If she wasn't good enough for her family, she sure as hell ain't good enough for ours." Joe Bob Briggs reminding you that the drive-in will never die. Arkansas State Trooper. Arkansas State Trooper pulls over a pickup truck on I-40. And he says to the driver, "Got any ID?" And the driver says, "About what?"